Someone came recently with an interesting child. It was a boy that davens actually, a boy in the neighborhood. So he went. Baruch Hashem, he was very matzliach. He was in the yeshiva and he wasn't doing so well. So he came and we placed him in a yeshiva, very very good yeshiva. Yeshiva in Westchester, very matzliach. The Talmud is very very matzliach. Baruch Hashem. The thing is that his father's minig is to wear a gartel to davening. Chabad the minig is that you only wear the gartel from the time of the wedding. So now he's uncomfortable. He's in yeshiva, and no one wears a gartel, and he's a boy wearing a gartel. He's not. So he asked me, could he take off his gartel? So I'm going to talk to you about the answer. Not only was there an answer, but there was an incredible backlash. The father called me up, wow, chutzpah, this kibbutz of aim, you're telling my son that he can take off the gartel. So that's also a Sheilos. Is the father right? Is the son right? So let's look into the Sheilos. It has to do with this week's Parsha, which is Ish ki yider neder, lo yachel dvorei. So first thing is about the father's taina. I'd like to, actually first let's talk about the son. Look at the second piece. Reishar Halacha minute. There's a letter from the Rabbi I found that someone wrote to the Rabbi about a gartel. So before I go to the letter, I just want to explain what the gartel is all about. The Gemara Shabbos says that Yud, that Mishum Hochen Likras Alechecha Yisrael, a person should put on a gartel before they daven. The poskim say that that's only in those days. It's only in those days that was when you walked in front of a king, you put on a gartel. You didn't just walk in like this with your flip-flops. You put on a gartel. But Bisman Hazeh, the main thing is that there should be an interruption between the heart and the erva. So if you're wearing a belt or pants, which is tight on your... Those days men used to wear a long skirt. And so in order to separate between the heart and the erva, so they would wear a belt. But today the pants is good enough because the pants is tight on your stomach, so that's good enough.
They call it shawan.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's why we still wear it.
Yes, some still wear it, exactly. So for that, you must have a gartel. Otherwise, however, it's brought in
That was only for davening or all day?
Only for davening. Only for davening. And also, even those that wear a gartel don't wear it for brachas. Only for davening.
What's
only
the
for davening.
To separate between the lathe and the erva, then it should be all day.
No, as I said, there's two things. The separating from the leiv and the arava, and there is hochem likras alekech Yisrael, which is separating. You must separate. Even bisman hazeh, if a person is wearing a long thing, he has to wear a belt. But there's a special extra thing that the Gemara says, which is hochem likras alekech Yisrael, and that a person doesn't must do. But however, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tzadik Aleph, that it's a good thing to do. So that's the reason now. In Chabad, the minig is only to do it at the time of the wedding. Why? It's not so clear. But the Rebbe says that that's the minig. However, we find in the Gemara in Kiddushin that in those days they used to wear a talis gadol only from the time of their wedding. The Gemara says one of the Meironim, he saw he wasn't wearing a talis gadol. He said, "What? You're not married? You're 20 years old? Oh, big trouble. How could you be 20 years old and not be married?" So the Gemara goes into the whole thing that a person must get married. At least the age of 20 he should get married. But how did he know that he wasn't married? Because he wasn't wearing a talis gadol. So we see that these special things of Yiras Shamayim that a person starts doing in the time of marriage. So the Rebbe says perhaps the same thing with the gartel. The gartel is in of Yiras Shamayim, Hochel Likras Lekech Yisrael, because I'm standing in front of God, so I'm wearing the special gartel. And just like the talis, the Gemara says in those days in the Shas, the minigos start wearing a talis at the time of the wedding. Same thing. Obviously, you have to. There could be two opposites here. There was someone that was called a cholamoyed. They called him cholamoyed. I think with a pillow paracher because he put on his talis before he put on his tefillin. He got married when he was 12. So he wasn't wearing tefillin yet, but he was already wearing a talis. So they called him cholamoyed. On the other hand, there was a yid that used to daven here. He doesn't daven here any longer. Very fine person, choshev yichus, and he wasn't wearing a talis. So my Zayda was here. He said, "A yid that's such a choshev yid, a nice white beard. Where's his talis?" I tried to say Zaydi, but he's not married. No, what can the married? Come on, at this age with a white beard. So my Zayda took l'chaim and he couldn't stop. Tell this guy made achlota that he's going to start wearing a talis every Shabbat. So, but well, that's the minig. So now, someone wrote a letter to the Rebbe that his minig was to wear a gartel every day to davening, and now he wants to stop. So the Rebbe writes back in the Tshuva, look, the second column, Allah shar alocha minig. Why should he stop this minig, which is a thing? Interesting. The Rebbe says it's important that a person here Shemaim should not stick out. I'm better than everyone here. Everyone in this shul does one thing, but I do differently because I'm smarter. I'm better. Biyuchud shaloye shoyna mishad anash shouldn't try to look different than the other anash. This was, I guess, a Lubavitcher that asked. Interesting thing the Rebbe said. So what's the big deal? Keep your minig. Just why do it on top of your begodim? Do it under your under your shirt. You can put a gartel under your shirt, and then you're good. No one sees it, but it's a gartel. Who cares? Does it have to be on top of your shirt or be under your shirt? Like exactly.
If you wear a belt, then those who wear a belt also wear a gartel.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's a double.
A double thing. One to mechas the erv and the lev, and one is a special thing. So also this person that Rebbe said, put it under your shirt. Now, interesting line. If you stop, the Rebbe says, if before you wrote the letter to me, you already stopped wearing the gartel, you have to do atoras for 3 people. Why? Any good thing that you do, and you have in mind that this is a good thing, and you do it 3 times. So then, if you stop to do it, you have to, if you say befedish, I didn't make an achlot, I'm going to do this, even if you do it once. But if you have in mind that this is a good thing, you start doing it. And then after 3 times, you want to stop. Like this person, he had in mind that he's going to wear a gartel indefinitely. And then he decided a year later, 2 years later, he wants to stop. So the Rebbe says, then you have to do Ataras Nedarim, even though you already stopped. But Lamafreya, because you already you stop. So even if you're not going to put on the gartel under your shirt, but for 3 months or 2 months or 2 weeks you stop, so do Ataras Nedarim. This way the neder will go away Melchatchila, and therefore it wouldn't be considered Chas v'Sholom Yachal Dvorei on the thing that you did.
Why Sfaradim doesn't hold of the gartel? It ought. And that in 30 years in Sfaradi, they never had it.
I don't know. It's, as I said, it's something. I don't know. But back to this, as I said, it's not a. In the time of the Gemara, it was a necessity. Now it's not. Right. So, I suggested that this Talmud in Chabad, there are some people that are mahada in order for the tzitzis to be the full shiur and not to get scrunched up less than the shiur, to wear a bendel. It's not an easy thing to do. But I said, would you be prepared to be makadol this hidur? So the boy said, yeah, I'm going to do it, which is a very nice hidur to do. Again, it's not easy. But, right, it's not easy to do because it's like a thermal. It's like you keep all the hot in your body. It's not easy. But the boy said, yeah, I want to do it. So I said, good. So do Ataras Nedarim. Start wearing a bendel under your shirts. You're wearing a gartel anyway. Plus your makabla extra hidur. And then you did a good thing. Get a call from his father. How could you do such a thing? So why did I do such a thing? Because a boy doesn't want to look different in the yeshiva. A boy is in the yeshiva. Why should he look different than all the other talmidim?
What about your head? What about the head? Give me a different head.
Okay, one thing at a time.
Oh,
Okay, listen, I'm only answering shaylos. I'm not telling a person what to do. If someone's uncomfortable wearing the gartel in the yeshivas, I'm telling him what to do for that. But for the father, so there is an interesting halacha. Look in the first column here, the first piece here. In Yoreh Deah, there's halacha like this. Talmud sheroitz halachas l'makam acher shehu boiteach sheyidah simon baracha b'talmudeh. A student wants to go learn in a certain yeshiva because he thinks over there it's going to be a lifnei a rav shesham. He wants to learn in that rav. He heard that Rosh Yeshiva is a good Rosh Yeshiva. He wants to learn in that yeshiva. And the father's moicha. In Europe, it happened. He said, this city, there's always blood libels. There's always a father. I don't want you going to. But I want to go to Mainz. I want to go to Worms. That's the big yeshiva. It It wasn't Brisk or Lubavitch. It wasn't Brunois. It was that year, those days, the days of the Trumas Hadesh, and the big yeshiva was in mines and in worms. The father says, no, listen, I'm not interested. In mines, there's always, the Germans, always trouble with the Germans. Always another blood libel. I want you to stay here and learn in this yeshiva here. So what's the din? The din is, he doesn't have to listen to his father. He doesn't have to listen to his father. He could go learn in the yeshiva he likes, even if there is a shtickle sakona. Son wants to marry a girl. Father says, no way. The yichus is our family, a very big yichus. What? Are you crazy? You can marry this girl? Stamaza, you bumped into the girl and you met her. What? Are you crazy? Din of kibbud of aim. You're not allowed to marry this girl. Father, they don't have to listen. You don't have to listen. You don't have to listen. Baruch Hashem, because of this din in Shulchan Aruch, because these two dinim, thousands of good shidduchim were made, and beautiful families were built. Myself was involved in a shidduch that way, that the parents were so upset, and they, Baruch Hashem, how many shidduchim, because of this din in Shulchan Aruch, but parents sometimes think, well, they have the right to tell the child, but they don't. They don't. And Baruch Hashem, because of this din in Shulchan Aruch, as I said, there's beautiful families today. And because of the first din, it's a very interesting halacha. So I remember I was learning in yeshiva in Manchester, and I met a boy that was learning then in high school, a very bright fellow. So we started learning Chassidus. So I remember that we were talking those days that were a lot of politics in the yeshivas with Chabad. This talking 1991, and I mentioned about a certain Rosh Yeshiva. We were talking. I'm a kid. We're talking. I'm 15 and he is 13. I said something. I just said the name of Rosh Yeshiva not with the biggest covet. I thought the whole Manchester is shaking. This guy started screaming at me. The streets were shaking. Now I want to tell you, this young man today is a Lubavitcher. He lives in Crown Heights. A few months ago, it was a bar mitzvah for his son. And his father was very angry that his son became a Lubavitcher. He took him as the Rosh Yeshiva in Lubavitcher, Manchester, to Din Torah.
Wow.
He took his son and the Rosh Yeshiva to Din Torah, and the Bezdin Paskin that the father is wrong because of this halacha. I'm not kidding or exaggerating. I'm telling you the story. Kamoishahu. I never met the father because the father never wanted to have any shaykhs to any Lubavitcher. Years later, this was 2-3 years ago, I met this boy's father. The boy, he's not a boy. He has a son who's, as I said, bar mitzvah now. I met him at the Koisel, and we had a very nice conversation. Now, just a few months ago, there was a bar mitzvah, and the father flew in from England for the bar mitzvah. It turns in that this family has a lot of sons, Baruch Hashem. They all went to nice yeshivas, but the one son that stayed, a Talmid Chochem and a Ben Torah, is the one that went to Lubavitch. The other ones are all business people. They're nice people, good balei tzedakah, balei chesed. But the one person that stayed at Ben Torah, he went where his heart was. He wanted to go learn Lubavitch. That was it. So anyway, so this halacha, I can't forget this halacha. As soon as I got this call, so I remembered. What do you mean? It's in Yer today. It's a Siman Reish Min. It's in the last sif. Okay, next Shaila. As always, that sometimes we think that we helicopter on top of our children, but spiritually they have to grow a little bit on their own. They have to sometimes, as long as they're fully eaten, they go on their own. There's a Choshev that sits next to me here. One of his one daughter became Kloisenberg, and one son is now a Choshev Yungeman in Lakewood. And he's a Choshev Lubavitcher Chosid. He tells me, Baruch Hashem, his kids are frum, he has nachas, he's happy. You have to let our children grow spiritually where they, where their heart takes them. As long as they're going b'derech haTorah, that's good. We have nachas. Second shaila. This is an interesting shaila. Father, there was a person that never he lost his wife, and then his daughter became a kala, very nice, mazel tov, mazel tov. This was his youngest child. Rachmana litzlan, they found that he had cancer. So he asked his daughter Toiva that who's going to take care of him. So he wanted she should postpone her wedding for 3-4 months. So she wasn't interested. So she asked the Shaila Rav Zilberstein. So the Zubishtan asked the Shaila by Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Hagon Rav Kanievsky. So Rabbi Kanievsky has all kinds of original thoughts. So he said, what do you mean it's befedish in this week's Parsha that you're not allowed to push up the wedding? Why? It says that the person that's sitting in the Ori Miklat has to sit there until the Kohen HaGadol dies. When the Kohen HaGadol dies, then he can go out of the Ori Miklat. So the mother and the wife of the Kohen Gadol always used to go to Or Mikla, and they used to bring some geschmacka stuff like here in Beis Menachem Mendel, some salad, some eggs, some food. Why? Because the people in Or Mikla were all sitting and davening day and night. The Kohen Gadol should die already. So the mother and the wife of the Kohen Gadol would go there to make things happening, make a nice meal. People should not daven.
Extra.
Now they know the wife of the Kohen Gadol, how they're going to sit and daven that she should become an almana. So they'll stop davening for that. So said Reb Chaim Kanievsky that if you're going to tell your daughter to wait to get married 4 months later, so what do you think the chassan is going to daven? He's not What is the chassan going to daven for? Not a good idea. Let them get married right away. So Rav Zilberstein said he didn't know how to tell the father the psak. It doesn't. So he decided to say it the other way. He called the father. He said, Rav Kanievsky says that if they get married right away, your son will become a member of your family and start davening for you to be healthy. While we're at it, let's just read quickly that's a Gemara in Marcus Daf Yud Aleph. The Mishnah says, "Echad Mashuk Misham Nishka Echad Merubah B'Gad Echad Shabbat Mishachos Machzir Nasaritzech Nevudah Machzir." Any one of the Kohanim Gedolim, when they died, the Tzech can go out. Bikach in Mesem Shel Kohanim, the mother of the Kohanim, Mesaptis Lam Michyo Psus, they used to bring food and clothing to the Ori Miklat. Kadesh Lo Yisbal Lam Sheyomus. The Gemara is an interesting Gemara. The Gemara says, "Time the Lomatz Lomaisi." What? And if the people are going to actually pray for the Kohen Gadol to die, he's going to die? Does it make sense? If someone curses you for no reason, that curse has no. Some people are superstition. They're going to curse something. That's Bagamaisis. Why should their prayer help? So sagt the Gemara, Amma hu sabe mit Pirkei der Rav Shmili, Shoylam lavaka sherachem al doyne v'loy bikshu. Unbelievable. The Kohen Gadol has to ask a rachamim that in his generation, the Chas v'Sholem, no Yid should kill another Yid accidentally. Unbelievable. There are achrayas that there is. The Gemara continues, Ika the Masni, some say the other way. Kadishis, Ba'al Avadim, Shaloy Yamusa, time of the Matzal, Maisi, Ma'av Le'lemevet, what should the Kohen Gadol do? And they say in Bavel, Tuvi Echot v'Zigud Mangid. There's two friends, one, Laurel and Hardy. One is Tuvi and one is Zigud. They're like a funny group. This guy always does the trouble. The other guy always gets whipped for it. So the awesome Amri Shchem Nosiv Umi Beroi Gozir Shchem. He takes the daughter of Yaakov and sleeps with her, and everyone else has to go through the painful procedure of a bris milah. Like, it doesn't have fear. Again, they should have asked the Rachman. There was a guy that was attacked in the forest by a lion, and it was 3 parts and within the residence of Yishum Alevi. And Leoanov used to show up every day. For 3 days, Leoanov shunned him. Why? What? A forest, 3 parts away. What do you want? 3 parts is far. It's halacha. 3 parts is like. So, what do you want? No, it's in your city. You have to influence. You have to influence all the Jews around you. Unbelievable. The achrayas that we have to all the Yidden around us. Okay, now let's do something that's negay in the 3 weeks. Before we go, I want to learn together Halacha and Rambam. But fascinating Halacha and Rambam is one of my most terrific. There's a beautiful Rebbe on this that's mamish unbelievable. But also there's a little bit of history to this. The last visit I was in Israel, so Shabbos, I was invited Friday night. There's a fellow, he likes to take pictures. He hangs around always in the Koisel. Mr. Schloss. He has a house on Misgav Latoch. Yeah, Moshe Schloss. So Moshe said at the Shabbos Day, he said a few interesting things. Number one, he said that after the victory in '67, it was very safe in Yerushalayim. So he wanted to go up to Har HaBayis, the places which are not the Makom HaMikdash, which is mutter to go walk. He went with Rabbi Ginsburg. Today's a big makubal. So Rabbi Moshe Weber had a table there. He was the Moshe Webels, the old Yerushalayim Lubavitches of the Beis She'orim, the Meir She'orim Tanya Shul, the Lubavitches with the Steinmals. So he had a project that not to let the Islam with the Arabs. You can't. It's not even an option. But he was standing there, telling Yidden, "You're not allowed to go. You don't know where's the Makom HaMikdash. It's not simple. Whereas we have a certain estimation, but we don't know for sure. You're not allowed to go." So they wanted to go, and they went. So he said, "I'm telling you, I'm writing a letter to the Rebbe." He gets a call a few days later with mosquitoes. And the Rebbe requests that you should never do this again. And you don't know which place the Makkah. And the main thing the Rebbe said is other Jews see that religious Jews are walking there. They don't know that you know that here is here and here is there. They Rahman al-Islam can walk mamish into the place of the Kodesh HaKadosh. Another thing, he said that Rabbi Getz, there's a legendary rabbi who was the Rav, who was a Yid that came from Tunisia. A very interesting fellow. There's this week in the Sichat HaShavua from Israel, Lubavitch publication, a very nice publication. We have it here. And they had his grandson said about this. Interesting. He was a young man. He learned law in the Sorbonne. He was a Sephardi who knows Yiddish, Ladino. He was from Tunisia. He managed to escape from the Nazis. So and he moved to Eretz Yisrael. Nebuch lost the son in the war in '67, so he decided to move to Yerushalayim. He was good friends with the minister of religion, so he made him the Rav, the Koisel HaMaravi. At that point, it wasn't a huge position, but he turned it into a position. He was a Yid that used to wake up every night at 11:30. You go to the mikveh at 12 o'clock, he was already at the Koisel. He used to do Tikkun Chatzois, and he used to cry. Why should cry? He used to cry about the Churban Beis HaMikdash, and then he used to learn Kabbalah until Alois HaShachar, and then he used to daven, beautiful. Who wouldn't want to have beautiful davening at the Koisel by Alois HaShachar? I mean, by Banetz, from Keminik Vasikin. That was he was a strong personality that Meir Yehuda gets. So Rabbi Shla, the Moshe Shla says that he remembers that. He started at some point a group that will this club that would work, scientists, Rabbonim, that would work on the building of the Beis HaMikdash. I mean, you have what the Rambam, they have the Mishnayos and Midos, but there's a lot that needs to be clarified. So he opened up this group. They started to work on figuring out about the building of the Beis HaMikdash. And then this thing got to him that the Chazal talk about the Oren Kodesh. The Oren Kodesh were hidden. There's something that said, there's a Psaramban that says that it's possible that before Mashiach will come, there'll be some Milchamas, and the Jews will find the Oren Kodesh. On the other hand, we know that the Gemara tells us in Shkolim that the Bachlal is a Machloikas, but the strong opinion is that the Oren Kodesh is hiding somewhere in the bottom of the Har HaBayis. So the Gemara says that there was a Kohen that was a Baal Mum in Lishkas HaEitzim, and he noticed that there was something in the floor, a discrepancy. So he thought, maybe this is the tunnel that takes to the place where the Oren Kodesh is hidden. So he said to his friend, I think I figured out where the Oren Kodesh is hidden, the secret passageway. He didn't finish his sentence and he died.
Wow.
So that's what the Gemara says. So, but Rabbi Getz he said, we have to have Mesiras Nefesh to bring Mashiach. Maybe if we find the Oren Kodesh, we're going to bring Mashiach.
He used to fight with Arabs.
He was unbelievable. So Shloss tells me that he wrote a letter to the Rebbe. Rabbi Getz wrote a letter to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told him Mishum Oifen that he should not get into this project. But helped the Eibishter that this week in the Beis Mashiach magazine they had the whole letter that Rav Getz wrote to the Rebbe, and the answer that the Rebbe wrote to Rav Getz. I'm just quoting here a little bit from the question and the answer. So here, in the summer of Tavshalom Zayin, the Meir Yehuda Getzachrein Lavacha wrote to the Rebbe, Cham libi bekirbi, legalis smoking the nizis oren abris, v'yesh tzorich b'mesirus nefesh. These are from the diaries that Rav Getz published in a book from his grandson. The Rebbe writes back to him a long letter. At the end, the Rebbe wrote with a ksav yad, kodesh, b'kavod u'b'bracha, lishmer al ha-kedusha, or la-kodesh, shelo yigaboy v'loy b'sveike v'svek tzveike. To guard that no one should get close to touching the kodesh, not even if it's a suffix or a svek tzveike. Ki mimi shehizer la'mikdash ata misyora b'atzlach. The Rebbe used to give him a lot of brachas. The Rebbe was like certain people. The Rebbe had like a very warm feeling to Rabbi Getz. Okay, so he moved away from the project. And then something happened. The summer of Toshim Mem Aleph, there is a whole bunch of shuls. Now there's even more. There's one of the shuls that Rav Getz's shul, which is one of the caves inside of the big plaza of the Koisel Amaravi. So it's a little bit of those narrow the shul, and he was trying to figure out maybe they could put the Oren Kodesh into the wall. And that wall over there is not mamish the wall of the Koisel Amaravi. There's a lot of things that are construction from many generations later. And they estimated that the rock is so thick they would, chisel a little bit into the rock, put in the Oren Kodesh. It's very nice. They started to chisel, and all of a sudden one rock fell, huge rock, and they looked and there was a huge, like a train station, a huge room. And it was deep and it was big. And Rav Getz got really excited. And because this was sort of behind where is, in his estimation, the place of the Kodesh HaKadosh. A huge cave like this, if we can get in there, so the kid said he went to Ariel Sharon, who asked permission from Menachem Begin. Ariel Sharon said, you know what, if you do it quietly, I'm not going to tell Begin. So if there's ever a huge international outcry, Begin could say, I didn't know about it. You go quietly they got people from a kibbutz, and they have to drain out the water. There was just bucket after bucket. They worked there for an entire month, draining, and the plan was when they finish, they're going to go down, and they're going to look around, they saw there was openings all over, to try to get in and start kriching around in the tunnels and looking what's going on. This is behind the place of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. It would sound very promising that Rav Getz.
Didn't the Rabbi say he couldn't do it though?
Okay, he's not a Lubavitcher Chassid. The Rebbe told him, the others also told him. Mordechai Eliyahu told him that Shlomo Melech built it with wisdom, that no one will find it. Do you think you're smarter than Shlomo Melech? Okay, so, but listen, Rav Getz was, he wrote that he wants to do it with Mesiras Nefesh. So, he went to Rav Goren and Rav Avadia Yosef, and he asked them for a psak that it should be permissible to do this work. Rav Goren said 100% mutter. He said that the Rambam paskins, that the caves, that the mechilos, the tunnels that open in the Kodesh, they're holy. But the tunnels that open outside in the Harabayas, they were never sanctified. There were a lot of tunnels under the Beis HaMikdash. So those are not sanctified. So since you see that the opening is outside the Kodesh, so it's mutter. And any tunnel you get in, you don't have to make an assumption that they're opening because you're coming from outside, so it's mutter. Rabbi Avadia Yosef was also, but Rabbi Avadia Yosef said maybe that once you open up a thing, they should go to the mikveh. Okay, but still, they both said that it would be permissible. It was done secretly. No one knew about this. But that week, it was the next week, this happened at the end of Tammuz, Tashim Amalef. It was the 3 weeks. And the Rebbe at Shabbos in the Fabrengen said that it's not the 3 weeks, so we have to learn something about building the Beis HaMikdash. Because Chazal say that the Eibush said to Yecheskel, because the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, Chas v'Shalom, teach the Yidden about the building of the Beis HaMikdash, and when they're learning about the Beis HaMikdash, how to build it, as if that Binyan Beisi is not bottle, as if the Beis HaMikdash, it's as if when you're learning how to, like for example, if you're building a house, and you already have a contractor, and you're already making the plans, it's like as if you're building it already. The Eibush said that even the Yidden are in Golos, they should start learning about the halachas, how to build the Beis HaMikdash. The Rebbe wanted that in the 3 weeks, that every Yid should make a little bit of time to learn about the halachas, how to build, not the korbanos, how to build the Beis HaMikdash. It has to be built. How to build it. So,
but it doesn't say that Beis HaMikdash
so there's a lot. There's two opinions, and there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to do in the building of the Beis HaMikdash. It's a huge building. It's very complex, and there's a lot to learn about that. So the Rebbe said he wants to talk about one halacha in the Rambam. Which halacha? In the fourth Perek in the Rambam says, and we can read it inside. Even hoysa b'kodesh hakadoshim b'Marsov shala hoysa oren munach. There was an Evan, and on top of that there was the Oren. V'lefonav, and in front of it was Tzimtzenes Amon, a little jar with the Mon. Mata Aaron, the staff of Aaron. Be'eshe Bona, Shlomo Savayis, and Shlomo Melech built the house. The Yodesh Sofer Lichorav, and he knew at the end it will be destroyed. Bona by Mokim Lignas by Oren Lamata. He built a place where you can hide the Oren underneath the Beis HaMikdash. B'matmunias, in hidden places, amukas that are crooked, v'alkalkulos. You know, like soup, amuk, it means very deep and very crooked. In a secret place. Mesubach, exactly. V'Yoshio HaMelech, the king Yoshio, Tziva v'Gonza, he gave the command and it was hidden. B'Mokim Shabon Shlem, in the place that Shlema built. Shenemer v'Yemer Levim, he said to Levim, Hamavinim l'chol Yisrael, who are the ones that understand for Klal Yisrael, like Adoshim Lashem, that sanctified to the Eibusha. Nuas Oren HaKodesh b'Bayis, put the Oren HaKodesh in the house, Shabon Shlema Ben David, that Shlomo Ben David built, Melech Yisrael, the king of Yisrael. Eilachem Marsov, because of now you're not carrying it, because it's being hidden. At Ivdus Hashem Lekeichem. V'nignas Imeh, with that was hidden the Mata Aaron, its incentives, V'shem and Amishcha, V'chol Eilu Lechazer B'Hashem, these things didn't come back to the B'Hashem. There's more in this halacha than Rambam, it's just at the time is short, so I didn't quote it.
So Yerovam did not have the access to, his son did not have access to the Aaron HaKodesh.
No. Anyway, he was in Melech Yisrael, not Melech Yehuda. He would not. He had no access for sure. So, the way it's described in Divrei Yom Malachim, the king Yoshio was a devout king. He was a frum king, and the Chilkiyo, the Kohen, was doing Bedek Abayis, and he found that in the Sefer Torah Moshe Rabbeinu wrote was opened all miraculously to the Klolos. He came running to the king wrote, ripped his begodim, and the king said, don't go to Yirmiyahu Hanavi, go to Hulda Neviah, because Noshim Rachmoni is saying. The women have Rachmonis. You go to Yirmiyahu, he's just going to give it to you straight. Maybe if we go to Hulda Neviah, she's a woman, she's a mother, but it didn't help. Hulda said the way it is, that there's going to be a Churban. Came back to Yoshio HaMelech, shows us if that's the case, we have to hide the Oren Kodesh. We don't want the enemies to ever get their hands. This is a long time before the Churban. This is history. Now, the Rambam is a Sefer of Halacha, said the Rebbe. Why is the Rambam giving us a whole history? True, there is a Machloikis. B'mkoim Enignas, or it went to Golus. The Rambam holds it B'mkoim Enignas. First of all, what's Negayat Halacha? What's Negayat Halacha? Whatever happens, history book. The Rambam is not a history book. The Rambam, every word is so meduyuk. And then he brings different than the Gemara.
Destroy Beis HaMikdash by taking it away. You destroy Beis HaMikdash. I know you're going to prevent it from being destroyed later, but right now you destroy Beis HaMikdash.
Yes, more the Kakasha. Yeah.
That's why the Rambam writing it.
Yeah. He says it's a nevuah, but the part of the nevuah wasn't that he should go hide it. The nevuah was just it's going to happen. You have a very good point.
But where it was hidden may very well be part of the Beis HaMikdash.
So this is where we're getting to, and also the details of what the Rambam writes is so many details. Number one, he brings a pasuk different than the Gemara. The Gemara says Vayisham Ad Hayom Hazeh. And over here he brings a different pasuk. The Rambam decides to bring his own pasuk. Vayom Al Alvim Hamavinu L'Chol Yisrael. And why does he have to bring, first? Every detail here is just like. Why is it important to say Shlomo built a secret place? When he built it, he knew it's already going to be Chorev, and he built a place. And Yoshio HaMelech, what's the Yoshio HaMelech? Whatever, someone, Siva, he gave a command, Begonza, B'mokim Shabon Shlomo. Again, it's like repetitive. We know Shlomo built it. It says, Be'eshabon Shlomo. Kids, the Rebbe asked, like Kedarke B'Kodesh, this one halacha, the Rambam, the Rebbe asked 24 questions. The Rebbe said that B'chidush, Rebbe's Chiddush is that even though that the Rambam says that there are tunnels, if they open up in the Kodesh, they're holy. If they open up in the Harabayis, they're choil. That's the regular. That was Mechadash, a new Chiddush. That there, when Shlomo Melech built the Beis HaMikdash, he knew that it's going to be destroyed. But he also knew that the Kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash has a lot to do with the Shechina, and therefore has a lot to do with the Aron Kodesh. So therefore he decided to build two places for the Aron Kodesh. One is in a Golui place, and one is in a Nister place. So the Rebbe's Chiddush was that when they hid the Aron, it wasn't that they hid it in a cave, in a closet, in order to save the Aron. There were two rooms designated for the Kodesh HaKadoshim, one above ground and one underground. One here, and the other one you take an elevator, you go down there. But they both have the din of Kodesh HaKadoshim. They both have the din of Kodesh HaKadoshim. When the Yidden was time of peace, the Aron goes in the elevator, goes up. And that's in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. If it's a time of danger, goes in the elevator, goes down, and there's a secret Kodesh HaKadoshim, and it has the Kedusha of Kodesh HaKadoshim. And with this Chiddush, the Rebbe answers all the diyukim. If you read it again, Even Hoiz of Kodesh HaKadoshim, B'marava, Shelo, Oren Muna, Tzemtzem Samon, Mata Aaron, Beis Shavon, Shlema Sabayz. When he built the Beis HaMikdash, Shlomo Melech didn't make up his own halachas. Hakol miyad Hashem alai hiskil. Everything was from the Eibishter. It's not that he made up his own things. Oh, we'll make a secret closet. Shlomo Melech was chochem mikol adam. V'yada, it was known to him shesoifer licharav. So therefore, part of the plan was bona by mokim. He built a special place. It's a special mokim. Lignas by ha'aron lamata. It's b'matmunias amukis v'kalkulis, but still, it has a kedusha. And therefore, Yeshio HaMelech, Tziva v'gonze. It wasn't that they were danger, the enemies were coming, and someone grabbed it and hid it in a closet. Yeshio was the Melech, therefore he's the leader of Klal Yisrael. And he gave a command, and it was hidden b'mokim shebona shloim, in that place. It was, don't think that it was, that maybe it was danger, so it was quickly hidden in some other place. It was hidden in that place, which has the Kedusha of Kodesh HaKadoshim. It doesn't bring the pasuk in the Gemara. That's not the case. He's bringing the pasuk. The Levim, whose job was Hakadoshim L'Shem Tnuas Aron HaKodesh. Bebayis HaShabon Shlomo ben David Melech Yisrael. This is the place that was originally built to be the Kodesh HaKadoshim. That was the Chiddush that Rebbe said that Shabbos. And
so in essence, it's not really hidden at a certain level.
Right. The Rebbe says it's not hidden, and that cave, if you ever find that cave has a din of Kodesh HaKadoshim. Kodesh HaKadoshim. That's it. That cave has a din of Kodesh HaKadoshim. The end of the story was that Arabs got wind of what was going on because they heard there was, they came the tumult. They got into that cave from the top, holes from the top. And
they drill a hole.
No, the truth is there was a few holes, Machatchila, and Avgetz closed it, but didn't, they closed it, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they climbed down. It was in the morning before davening. They came out with rocks and with bottles, and they attacked Avgetz and the people there. The police were called quickly, and Rahman al one thing hit Avgetz, and he started to bleed. His wife came running, and she was crying. There was a scene, and the police came and arrested Rav Getz and all the Yidden that were there. They arrested Rav Getz and all the Jews that were there. No, not the Arabs. Not the Arabs.
Arabs are good.
Exactly. That's it. That was the end of the story. That was it. Now, if you go to Rav Getz Shul, in that place there's like an opening. There's rocks there. You can see it's new, but that's it. It was closed off, and that's it. They never continued with the project. Huh?
When we Israel is about
What?
when Israel, the last couple of years, there were big problems making tunnels to Israel.
Right.
So they put like 30 engineers in a room, and you can go out from it until you find a camera that could see what's going on in the car.
Right.
And Israel know all the tunnels, and just before finish, they send a plane and shot right there and explode the whole thing. Let them spend millions of dollars. So I say, with this technology now, maybe you could see what's going on.
Exactly. Who knows? Shmulik, you're onto something. The Eibush should help him that will be Roy, and we'll be able to use this technology. The Eibush should help.
This is maybe only sand, underneath the stone. Maybe it's, you know.
Listen, they're working. This technology you're talking about is not. They're working constantly to perfect it more and more and more. So the Eibush should help. That should be the technology which is used now to find the tunnels of Arabs that are like here to. They should be used now for a good thing.
They have something more than that. They have all this kike, the bomb inside. You know, and then fire. They're looking for something, special camera, that the minute pick up your hand to pick up a kite, we get you and you shot you right away. The whole world will be against us because a lot of Arabs get together. Better they get killed than out.
Right.
They won't know. Very
Well,
good.
היום התחילו את המבצע לשחרר את הילדים האלה בתאילנד, שהם במנהרה. רק עם טכנולוגיה ישראלית מצליחים להגיע אליהם. היום בבוקר, עוד לא הוציאו, הם בדרך. ייקח 6 שעות להוציא כל 2 ילדים להוציא מהטאנל הזה. 6 שעות. יש עוד צוללנים, אבל רק טכנולוגיה ישראלית, הצליחו לראות אותם, להכניס להם טכנולוגיה לתוך המנהרה, לראות אותם, רק עם טכנולוגיה ישראלית. כל מיני מכשירים שתגנו שם בתוך המנהרות וזה. עכשיו בדרך החוצה, בצעים כבר 2 בדרך החוצה, זה לפני 2-3 התחילו את המבצע שם. ישראל, הכל ישראל, הצוללנים.
So the Rebbe says, I don't avoid this Hashem. The neshama also, when it goes in Golos, the neshama sometimes gets so buried, so deep. Sometimes in our life we end up doing things that are so crooked and so deep. Amuk. But the kavanah is that the Yid should do tshuva. And when the Yid does a Baal Tshuva, b'makim shebal tshuva imdim afilat tzadikim gemurim ein yechelim lamed. So instead of being amuk in a bad way and crooked in a bad way, it's the opposite. Mimamakim korasicha, that a Yid finds in the deepest place the strongest power of the neshama, like we were talking about Shabbos, that he finds the yechid of his neshama. The Rebbe says that just like the Oren Kodesh has to be hidden, because the Oren Kodesh, when it was hidden, it's like a double thing. On the one hand, it allowed there should be a churban. If it was never hidden, the Eibush would never allow it should be a churban. Chatchila, Shlomo Melech built the house in a way that it could be destroyed. But why was it made that way? Because the Eibush wanted that later we should have the second and finally the third base of Mikdash, which will be Binyanan the Kuchabrichu, the Zohar says, that can never be destroyed. So the Eibush wanted that it should be a possibility to be destroyed in order to be rebuilt stronger than before. So, but the Oren HaKodesh always has to be the same thing a Yid. That the Eibush puts us in this world and gives us the possibility sometimes to dig ourselves terribly deep into a terrible place. Amuk. Mukas calculus to go crooked. But the tachlis is fakert. From there we should do tshuva and have to rebuild our third base of Mikdash in a stronger way. That's why the Eibush made that when there's Tchias HaMeisim, even though the body of a Jew disintegrates in the ground, a part of the body must stay. And the person's body, when the Tchias HaMeisim is going to be rebuilt from that part that was not decayed. Every Yid has to be a part of his body that's going to stay, and from that is going to be rebuilt with Tchias HaMeisim. Similar to that, in the Beis HaMikdash, there has to be one place, just like the Neshama, there's the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and the Etz HaMuz. Same thing in the Beis HaMikdash, there has to be a place that's sitting there now and is not destroyed. The Kodesh HaKadoshim is there, the full Kedusha, right now. The Eibush will help them that our own Beis HaMikdash should be rebuilt, and the Eibush will help them the Taka, and this year, that we should Taka, see Beis Mashiach Tzidkenu, see Bepel Mamish, the Beis HaMikdash Shlishi.